Right, quick airspace checks, how to do them. You cannot rely on the DJI app. DJI is not a UK company, so like all Chinese stuff, if you've ever read a manual, they don't quite get everything correct. So DJI app is wrong. We're going to look at an app which we should use for checking airspace and where you can and cannot fly. Very quick. So here we go, guys. Nice and simple. Right, so we've established that DJI's airspace app is not correct for airspace, basically. So we're going to use Drone Assist by Altitude Angel to check airspace. Now, when you fire up the app, it can look a little bit complicated. And this is a basic screen of what things look like. So this will be my arrow to show you where things are. Now, the important bits, and this is the really important stuff. This is the stuff you care about and where you shouldn't be flying unless you have permission. Basically, inside a flight restriction zone. Now, a flight restriction zone is this circle, and then it's got the runway stubs here, the runway protection zones. Why they don't just call all of it a flight restriction zone, who knows? They like to add words in. But regardless, we have the entire flight restriction zone here. So it's a circle, and it's got the runway stubs here, 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 and here. Anywhere inside that circle, anywhere inside here and here, you need permission from the air traffic controller or from the flight information service. That's it in a nutshell. So this isn't about restricted, this is just flight restriction zones. You will need to unlock with a DJI on the device. You will need the internet for that, but you must have ATC permission. The app is not granting you permission to fly. That is done with a phone call. Typically, airports, for some reason, they want 7 days notice. I can't predict a weather forecast in 7 days' time. It's impossible. It just really is, to be honest. Then we've got the fact that sometimes some will try to charge you like London Heliport because paperwork, which is just BS. They need to read CAP 722C. Airspace is a state asset, so we shouldn't be charged for flying anywhere. Anyway, going on around. So this is the flight restriction zone. Now, this red stuff here that looks like you can't fly in it because it says controlled airspace in the app, don't worry about it. It's controlled airspace for manned aviation. That's the important bit. It's either a CTR, which is a controlled traffic region, or it might be an ATZ, which is also a air traffic zone. So don't worry about them because you do not need anyone's permission to be there. Don't phone the ATC if you're inside one of them because they have enough to do. You've got permission to fly there without telling them. That's great. We then have, wrong thing. We then have the yellow ones, and these are just warnings, small airfields maybe, where it might be worth calling them. It could be a glider, it could be somewhere where some gliding's going on. And then finally, you do not need permission, by the way, to fly inside these. And then finally, we've got this blue here, and this blue is what's known as a NOTAM. And this is a notice to other airmen. It will probably change its wording to air missions because airmen sounds like it's about men. And in today's world, that's wrong. So, even though the word means something else, by the way. So, it means crew. Airman means crew. It doesn't define a sex in that, but in today's world, because no one can look at a dictionary and everything, it's going to change probably to mission. So it'll be notice to air missions will be the new wording, we expect. Now, inside this, you will click on it and it will give you a description of what's going on. You will read that description, and if it says you need to call someone, you will call someone. If it says you cannot fly, you cannot fly. If it doesn't say you cannot fly and it's just warning you about something, then that's fine. You can fly. So you've got to read something, okay, and understand it. It will be in English. And this is about UK airspace, so hopefully you should be all right. And that's the really short and basics on that. Now for this, all we do, if you want to know an ATC's telephone number, all you do is click on the flight restriction zone and scroll to the bottom of the information in the app. So here we go, this is Doncaster, we click on the airfield, we scroll down, and look at that, it says ATC, that's the number you call. Be nice, they are busy, they are doing their job, so you'll ring them up and you will request a drone flight, they will ask for a location, they may accept a postcode, they may accept a road name or something that identifies where you are typically. They don't always need a GPS or long and latitude, in my experience. Just a name and an area where you are is often enough. But you'll ring that number to get permission. They will either say yes or they will say no, or they might say later. Sometimes they'll ask you to call them before and after the flight. However, that's where you can find out their telephone numbers. Now, there are a lot of people, for some reason, that want to fly in London. So, here's London, and here's a quick overlook. So, we can quite clearly see there is a flight restriction zone there on the right. That is London City. Now, I've highlighted the Isle of Dogs, and quite clearly, in that airspace restricted area, it quite clearly states that's a drone no-fly zone, right? We can all see that. Now, the other restricted airspace in London is also City of London. Quite clearly, it's marked out there on the map, and it says it's a drone no-fly zone again. And that's where you've got to get permission. So the Isle of Dogs and City of London airspace, in these two zones, you need to go and fill a NATS non-standard flight request form in. You can fly there, but you just got to do the paperwork to do it. It takes about up to 30 days to get permission. Just follow what it says on the website, on the NATS website. I'll put the link below. All you've got to do is follow that, and there is a chance you can get to fly. Commercial operators do it all the time. There's a lot of other airspace restricted in London you've just got to check for. Like, you cannot fly in Hyde Park. There's an area around Battersea. The London heliport, for example, they want to charge you. So they'll try to charge you for flying inside their airspace. They will come up with some bull BS about it being either because of paperwork or risk assessment or something else. But they will charge you if you want to fly in London heliport's flight restriction zone. And that's it really. All you've got to do is click on the Drone Assist app, read what's in front of you to determine if you can fly. There are many restricted areas of airspace around the UK, such as prisons, there are military sites, there are navy bases. These are all restricted, so you've got to read the app to see what it says, if you can or cannot fly. And that's it. This is a short one on airspace checks. Right, safe flying everyone, and have a good one. Thank you very much.